Most anthropologists agree that cave paintings are the first indications that the human species had become self-aware. Before this, early human beings existed merely in the form of a super clever ape. Therefore, perhaps it is fair to say that art, like music, is one of the defining factors that makes us human and vastly different than apes. In fact, in terms of evolutionary time, the appearance of cave paintings is an event that seems to have happened instantaneously around the entire world. Therefore, the evidence suggests that these clever human-like apes, we call Cro-Magnons, had become self-aware overnight. This defies normal evolution theory and is an event which is still unexplained today. It is simply a scientific enigma. But I wonder if it is also perhaps a spiritual enigma, because the dilemma of human consciousness is actually an age-old question. Is there, or is there not, a soul? You know, no one really doubts evolution because the evidence is so solid. But the evidence to support the existence of a soul is at best anecdotal. Science says that what we call the soul is in fact our consciousness, and consciousness is actually an illusion created by our highly complex brain. And the brain is in fact the single most advanced organism in the known universe, because without consciousness or being self-aware, we would not even know the universe exists. I mean, no ape or other animal looks up at the night sky and ponders the question, what is the meaning of life? Neuroscientists will eagerly tell you that science is still a long, long way from understanding the brain because of its immense complexities. How the brain came to be so advanced and why only in humans this happened, well, that's another question, but it is generally accepted that it took several 100,000 years of evolution. And this is why this instantaneous event of human consciousness is such a mystery. Okay, alright, with that said, let's move on. What if we now decide for a moment that there is such a thing as a soul? What then could it be, and what could it be made of? Well, I guess if we look to the numerous accounts of people who have had a near-death experience, from that we can deduce that the soul seems to be some kind of self-contained energy holding our life force, like an entity which can exist outside the body and in another dimension. Okay, if that's true, then it must mean that it is currently beyond our technology to be able to detect it. However, the latest thinking from quantum physics scientists is that such a self-contained entity is possible and even probable because the mathematical calculations fit. The soul, then, must come into existence in an entirely different way than evolution theory. Perhaps there is another type of evolution that occurs in another dimension, and that's why it's beyond our current understanding in this three-dimensional world. And if that is true, then more questions arise. Does the soul evolve outside of us and then enter into the body at some point? Or is it actually the brain combined with our life experience that creates the soul, which then leaves the body when we die and goes into another dimension? Gosh, it all gets pretty deep and pretty scary. For if the soul first exists outside and then enters the brain at some point, then we really must ask why. Why would a soul that is advanced, so advanced that it can exist in a high dimension, bother going into a lesser, more restrictive dimension? It doesn't make sense. But of course, that does not mean it's not true. But it does seem to go against all logic. The other explanation must be that a soul is actually created as the brain and the person grows. In a way, the human race is actually a soul-producing machine. Actually, I don't know which one of those concepts is more terrifying. But either way, it means that for some reason, our time in this three-dimensional world must be extremely important. It means that every second of our lives is vital and meaningful for some reason. A reason, I guess, perhaps we can never know until we die. In my view, if the existence of a soul is true, then it points heavily in the direction of some form of creator. Okay, let's theorize for a moment. Can it be possible that an almighty creator, or God, waited and waited for hundreds and thousands of years for the human brain to evolve to the point that it was finally advanced enough to be able to contain and interpret the will of a soul, or to be able to create one? And if so, could that explain why human beings became self-aware overnight? It's interesting. For without a soul, we are not whole, but merely creatures with an empty hole. And what's the point of that? Anyway, it was this crazy line of thinking that led me to the reason why I should actually continue to create art. The conclusion I came to was this. In the beginning, the creation of art, cave paintings, were the response of the awakening consciousness in early man. The soul waking up, if you will, inside the newly evolved human mind. Therefore, an honest work of art must come directly from the soul as a response to the world around it. And all of us every single one of us are completely unique, with unique DNA and unique life experiences. Therefore, any creativity that comes from directly within as a response to our own life must come out in an original way. So, put simply, my art, which is in the form of painting, is the response of my own soul reacting to and interpreting my own life experiences. This is as honest and true as art can get.